All right, everyone. What I want to do today is show you guys how to multiply matrices together. And this is a lot different than what I showed you guys on Wednesday when we added and subtracted matrices, because it's just not as easy as taking row one, column one, and multiplying it by row one, column one, whatever's in those two spots. We're just not going to multiply the spots anymore. Before I get into how to multiply a matrix, we need to check if we can multiply the two matrices we are given, because you cannot multiply any two you want. It has to follow a certain direction. All right. So if you let's take example one here first. Find AB. So they're asking us to multiply matrix A and matrix B. So the first thing we need to check is, hey, can we even multiply them? And here's how we check. We take matrix A. We talked yesterday about the order, or excuse me, on Wednesday, about the order of a matrix is equal to the row first by the column second. So the order of matrix A in our example number one is a 2 by 2. And the order of matrix B here is also a 2 by 2. Now, the only way we can multiply these two matrices is if these two inside numbers must match. All right, they must match, which in this case they do. All right, if they don't match, if one's a 2 and one's a 3, I can't multiply them. All right, those two numbers must match. Now, the two outside numbers are also pretty powerful. The two outside numbers tell us what type of matrix we'll have at the end. All right, so we're going to have a 2 by 2 matrix as our answer. All right, those numbers will change. They all won't be the same when we move on to the next couple examples here. All right, so let's actually start multiplying these now. So part A asks us to find matrix A times matrix B. All right, here comes the new stuff. When you multiply a matrix, again, I said this at the beginning, you just don't multiply the corresponding spots. All right, take a look up above. You have to do row by column. So in this case, I'm going to do row 1 times column 1. That will only result in one number in the matrix, that number right there. So how do I get that number? I'm first going to multiply 2 times 0, and I'm going to add that to keep going, 3 times 5. Row times column. Whatever that number happens to be, we'll do it in a second. All right, that is what my first number in the matrix. How do I get this second number right down below it? Well, now I'm going to do row 2 times column 1. So now I'll do, come on, row 2, column 1. So row 2, column 1, that'll go right in this position here. And how do I find it? Here we go, 4 times 0 plus 7 times 5. All right, whatever that value happens to be, we'll calculate in a second. Now, what about the rest of the matrix? Because it's got to be a 2 by 2. All right, so how do I find this spot right here? We'll take a look. That's in row 1, column 2. So that's exactly what I'm going to multiply over here. Row 1 times column 2. So in that spot, I'm going to put 2 times 0 2 times 1 plus 3 times 6. And in the final spot, I'll do row 2, column 2. And in that spot, I'll end up putting, let's see, 4 times 1 plus 7 times 6. And I'll do those calculations out, and I'll get my 2 by 2 matrix. You guys can take a quick second, use your calculators. And 46. So that is what I end up getting when I multiply matrix A by matrix B. Again, row 1, column 1 right here. Row 2, column 2. Row 1, column 1 right here. Let me back up. row 1, column 1, row 2, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 2, column 2. Those are the numbers I ended up multiplying. Part B asked us to find AB minus 2A. All right, this is something similar we did on Wednesday. Well, I already have matrix AB. That's going to be 15, 35, 20, 46. And now I'm going to subtract 2A. And if you remember from Wednesday, I just take matrix A, multiply all the numbers inside by 2. So do it with me here. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times 7, 14. And just like we did on Wednesday, I just subtract each corresponding position. So you guys can do that. 15 minus 4, 20 minus 6. So our answer for this one would be the matrix with 11, 27, 14, and 32. All right, a little bit different now. A lot different, actually. All right, part A, multiply matrix A times B. Well, let's quickly check. Here we go. Matrix A, remember we do row. There's only one row and 3 columns. Matrix B, I have 3 rows and 1 column. So take a look, inside numbers. They match. So I can multiply this, but take a look. Look at what your ending matrix is going to be. A 1 by 1 matrix. So yeah, you're going to have a matrix with one number in it. One number. So how do I get that number? Row times column. Here we go. Row times column. So it's going to be 1 times 4 plus 2 times 5 plus 3 times 6. Go ahead and perform those calculations. And you will see a matrix with the number 32, 1 by 1, 1 row, 1 column. Okay, part B, watch this change up dramatically now. Now I'm asking for B times A. Watch this now. All right, well, you want B, which we said was a 3 by 1, times A, which is a 1 by 3. Take a look at the two inside numbers. You can do it. I got a match. And look what my resulting matrix is going to be. A 3 by 3 at the end. And I know some of you are starting to say, how in the world is this guy going to get a 3 by 3 from those numbers? All right, let's watch the greatness here. Here we go. Row times column. But remember, you're going B, then A. B, then A. Ready? So in B, I take the first row and multiply it with the first column in A. So what's going to go in my first spot? 4 times 1. Nothing to add. 4 times 1. And then I end up going 4 times 2. Row 1, column 3, 4 times 3. Ready? Row 2. Now there's a 5 in row 2. So it's going to be 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3. Just keep saying to yourself, guys, row 1, row 2, column 1, that's got to go in that spot in the ending matrix. And then finally, you guys can probably guess, 6 times 1, 6 times 2, and 6 times 3. All right, so that ends up being BA will end up being 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 12, 15, 18 as your resulting matrix. All right, so a little bit different, right, when I switched the order of them, but that's how it became a 1 by 1 versus a 3 by 3. Okay. All right, one more to make us great. Find the product, so they want us to multiply that. So I'll take the first matrix, I'll call it A. and it looks like to be a 2 by 4. And in the second one, B, let's see, that ends up being a 2 by 2. Timeout. Look, take a look. That's a no-go. That's a no-go. Cannot multiply them. Those inside numbers must match. Okay, those inside numbers must match. Now, if I flipped them, yeah, I could make it go, but just the way it's written right now, I cannot multiply those two. I would need to rearrange them, which we're not going to. All right, so in conclusion here, to multiply matrices, the following rule needs to happen. The number of columns in the first matrix must equal the number of rows in the second. Okay, and that's exactly what we've been doing here with this rule of checking the inside numbers. The column in the first one must match the number of rows in the second one. All right. And we're going to finish it off today with a little word problem. Okay, given two matrices here. We got days and the amount of regular unleaded and super unleaded gas, perfect. And we got a second matrix B here, which tells us the selling price and the profit we make per gallon. So part A says, hey, can you do the product of A, B? All right, well, I don't know, can I? Let's check first that I can. Let's see, A is A. What's the order there? That would be a 3 by 3. And B looks to be a 3 by 2. Ooh, we got it. Match. We got a match. All right. Excuse me. So what's going to be our ending matrix? I should have a 3 by 2 when I'm done multiplying. All right. This is going to be a large one here, so get some room. Okay. Here we go. Row times column, everybody. Ready? Row times column. That's just going to go in the first spot here. So in the first spot is going to go 240 times a $1.80 plus 300 times a $1.90 plus 160 times $2. That's just 1 right there. Row 1, column 1. Okay, next up, let's get rid of this. All right, let's find this spot now, which would be row 1, column 2. So now I'm going to keep row 1 up here, but now multiply it with column 2. And then I'll let you go on your own to do this. So I'm going to go 240 times 0.3 plus 300 times 0.34 plus 160 times 0.38. All right, and now from here, you guys can do row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2, and then finish it off with row 3 in the columns. So go ahead with those, and then you can pause the video now. I'm going to write up the final answers on what you should get, and then we'll talk about part B. So go ahead, pause the videos, calculate everything to what you need, and then come back and make sure that everything's good to go. Okay, those are your final numbers. Hey, it's possible I may have made a calculation error. You can yell at me on Monday if you're disputing something, but those are the numbers I get. And remember at the beginning, we said we should have had a 3x2 matrix at the end, which we do, 3 rows, 2 columns, so that looks good. So those are our numbers for the matrix. Now we actually have to answer a problem and a question using that matrix. What's the gas station's profit from Monday through Wednesday? All right, Monday through Wednesday, what's the profit? Okay, biggest thing I'm looking for here, gas station's profit. Go back to your 2 matrices. Which one right now? Go ahead. If you don't have writing all over the place, go ahead. Where is the profit? Okay, which matrix and which row or column represented profit? And you'll see it's, come on, there we go, right here, profit per gallon. And if you take a look, that is column 2. That is column 2. So if you go back to our matrix, I want to look at column 2 right here. And the question is asking Monday through Wednesday. The 234.80, that's my profit on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if you want the total profit, I'm going to have to add those together. So go ahead and add them together. Again, the profit was in column 2, so I'm going to my matrix and I'm looking at column 2. All right. And in column 2, if I added all of them up, it should give me my profit for Monday through Wednesday, $717.80 profit when I add all 3 values up. All right. Thanks for following along, and we will continue this on Monday with the next couple pages for classwork.